Larry Caputo and his spouse Connie Talley sustained injuries in a vehicular accident, eliciting a contentious reaction from Theresa. Larry Caputo, ex-husband of Theresa Caputo from Long Island Medium, and his present spouse Connie Talley were recently engaged in a tragic automobile accident. Larry Caputo sustained a fractured left rib, while Connie Talley incurred a broken arm in the incident. Both are presently receiving treatment. Nonetheless, in light of this unfortunate news, Theresa Caputo shared a post on her Instagram that many perceived as humorous and derisive. This post incited a dispute. Other relatives, notably Theresa's offspring Larry Caputo Jr. and Victoria Caputo, vehemently opposed the post. Family and supporters have urged all individuals to exhibit compassion towards the injured and to respond with sensitivity during these circumstances. A tranquil Sunday morning in California was abruptly disrupted by tragedy. Larry Caputo, recognized by millions as the former spouse of renowned medium Theresa Caputo from the popular reality series Long Island Medium, was traversing the Pacific Coast Highway with his wife Connie Talley. They were coming from a weekend retreat, a necessary respite from the incessant media attention that perpetually followed Larry, even years after his divorce from Theresa. A truck unexpectedly lost control on a steep turn, colliding with Larry's automobile. Emergency personnel arrived promptly. However, the harm had already occurred. Larry sustained a fractured left rib, and Connie's arm was obliterated. The pair was expedited to the hospital, both in stable yet critical condition. The news of the accident disseminated swiftly, with people conveying their affection and prayers via social media. What should have been a period of shared apprehension and solidarity unexpectedly diverged. Theresa Caputo shared a photo on Instagram shortly after the news emerged in Long Island. The image depicted her in a shimmering silver dress, laughing with a cocktail in hand, accompanied by the caption, "Some individuals fail spectacularly, while others excel remarkably." The post promptly incited outrage. Speculation quickly emerged that the message was a subtle insult directed at her ex-husband and his new spouse. Thousands of fans inundated her comments, with some advocating for her freedom to post as she pleased, while a greater number expressed indignation. The caption, interpreted as derision, was particularly unsettling for Theresa's own children. Larry Jr., the son of Theresa and Larry, using his personal social media account to share a message that stated, "In times of distress for loved ones, silence is invaluable. This transcends allegiance. It pertains to our shared humanity." Victoria Caputo, their daughter, shared her brother's message, adding, "We all err, but now is the moment for unity, not division." The Caputo family was experiencing internal strife. Theresa, recognized for her audacious demeanor and incisive remarks, asserted that the post was unrelated to the disaster. "It was merely a scheduled post from my public relations team," she said reporters. "People are overanalyzing it. I would never wish harm upon Larry or anyone else." However, few were persuaded. Fans who had followed the Caputos during their decade-long reality show recalled the underlying strain in their marriage. Although they had divorced long ago, it was evident that lingering wounds persisted, some unhealed and others possibly unrecognized. Connie Talley, currently recuperating in the hospital, issued her initial statement from her bedside. "Suffering reveals those who genuinely support you. I am appreciative of the kindness we have encountered. This is precisely what we require at this moment, kindness." As the scandal developed, media outlets seized upon the familial discord. Theresa ultimately removed the post, substituting it with a minimalist image of a candle accompanied by the words, "Universal Healing." Some perceived it as a quest for redemption, while others regarded it as insufficient and belated. Ultimately, the occasion served as a pivotal juncture, a reminder of the scrutiny public figures endure and how swiftly compassion can be eclipsed by ego and pride. The Caputo family, fragmented yet united by a common history, commenced their reconciliation. Larry Jr. visited his father in the hospital. Victoria conversed with Connie for the first time since the wedding. Additionally, Theresa, in private, made a discreet phone call, not for publicity or fans, but merely to express, "I'm sorry." Occasionally, among life's devastation, healing arises not from external voices, but from the voices we possess in the present moment. Nevertheless, on a tranquil, cloudy afternoon, Theresa Caputo, the esteemed Long Island medium, arrived at the unassuming residence of Evelyn Dawson in Port Jefferson, Long Island. Evelyn, a gentle woman in her late 60s, had been widowed for 3 years following the sudden demise of her husband, Harold, due to a heart attack, which left her with lingering silence and unresolved inquiries. One persistent memory was the enigmatic tattoo Harold bore on his upper arm, an image he had never adequately elucidated. "I merely wish to ascertain whether he is at peace," Evelyn remarked, gripping a tissue as she guided Theresa into her living room. Framed photographs of her and Harold adorned the mantel, depicting him in his Navy uniform, on their wedding day, and during a fishing excursion in Montalk. However, in none of the images was there any indication of that tattoo. Theresa seated herself, eyelids partially closed, hands extended, attuning to what she referred to as spiritual energy. The atmosphere appeared to transform. A gentle breeze, not emanating from the open window, caressed Evelyn's cheeks. "I am acquiring a man," Theresa said, her tone subdued yet firm. "He is attired in a uniform. Navy? Moreover, he possesses a playful smile, reminiscent of someone who used to engage in minor pranks." Evelyn's eyes expanded with surprise. "That is Harold," Theresa acknowledged. "He repeatedly mentions the lighthouse. Are you aware of its significance?" "That is the location of his proposal, the Montalk lighthouse." Theresa hesitated. Her hands gestured delicately in the air, as if sensing unseen strands. "He is revealing something on his arm. A tattoo. However, it is not what one might anticipate. It is not military. It is a bird. A diminutive bird, no, a sparrow, with a key in its beak. Does that hold any significance for you?" Evelyn gasped, her eyes brimming with tears. "I have never disclosed this to anyone," she murmured. "Harold possessed a tattoo on his upper arm, a sparrow accompanied by a key. I always found it peculiar. I inquired about it once, but he merely kissed my forehead and replied, 'You will comprehend eventually.' I never unraveled its meaning." Theresa inclined her head, smiling gently. "He now asserts that you were the pivotal element. The sparrow symbolizes freedom, and the key was you. You afforded him the liberty to be authentic, to attain tranquility. Even amidst adversity, you provided him with a sanctuary." Evelyn sobbed freely, applying the tissue to her face. "He never disclosed that tattoo to anyone. It wasn't mentioned in his will. We cremated him wearing his shirt." Theresa nodded gravely. "He wished for you to understand that he is well. He is with you and takes pride, particularly in your resilience." They remained there in silence momentarily. The atmosphere in the room transformed once more. This time, it felt lighter, as if a weight had been alleviated. As Theresa prepared to depart, Evelyn grasped her hand. "Thank you. You provided me with more than mere answers today. You restored a fragment of him I believed I had lost eternally." Theresa smiled. "That is the function of spirit. They manifest precisely when we are prepared to receive their messages." The clouds began to disperse, and a solitary sparrow alighted on the windowsill, tilting its head inquisitively before soaring away into the wind. Nonetheless, on a cloudy Thursday afternoon in Montauk, Emma Hartley, a 32-year-old freelance writer, sat anxiously in the front room of a quaint beachfront cottage. The walls were adorned with gentle hues of seafoam and cream, complemented by photographs of cheerful families and softly flickering candles. This served as the temporary reading room for Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. Emma was skeptical of mediums and spiritual readings. Her sister, Kate, had scheduled the appointment as a birthday present, asserting, "You need closure." Emma remained unconvinced, recognizing that closure could not resurrect individuals, particularly her best friend, Maddie, who had perished in a tragic car accident 2 years prior. Upon entering the room in her distinctive leopard print shoes and flawlessly styled blonde hair, Theresa observed Emma, who attempted to conceal her doubt with a kind smile. Theresa cast a knowing glance, seemingly aware of the emotional barriers Emma had erected. "Hello, dear," Theresa remarked affectionately, positioned beside Emma. "You are uncertain about the reason for your presence here, correct?" Emma emitted a subdued, hesitant laugh. "Not precisely." Theresa smiled softly. "That is acceptable. The spirit possesses an innate ability to discern our needs, even in our ignorance. A young woman is already manifesting prominently. She exudes the essence of a best friend. Her communication is rapid, extremely rapid, and she persistently presents images of sunflowers." Emma's breath was momentarily stifled. Maddie had consistently adored sunflowers. Her phone case, bedroom curtains, and even her journal featured sunflower motifs. Nevertheless, Emma remained hesitant to accept the reality. "She claims her name begins with an M, perhaps Maddie or Maggie?" Theresa paused, attuned to an inaudible sound. "Maddie. Indeed." She's gesticulating, as if to say, "It's me. It's me." Theresa laughed. "She possesses a vibrant personality, doesn't she?" Tears accumulated in Emma's eyes. "Indeed," she murmured. "She truly did." Theresa's demeanor softened. "She indicates that you've been attributing blame to yourself over the night of the tragedy. You believe that if you had not, I instructed her to use my vehicle." Emma interjected. "She was reluctant. I persisted. And the brakes malfunctioned." Theresa nodded slowly. "She states, it was not your fault. Please cease bearing that burden. She is illustrating her embrace around you. During every night of your tears, she is present." Emma averted her gaze, striving to maintain composure. This exceeded her expectations and challenged her beliefs. Yet it felt undeniably authentic, painfully authentic. "She wishes for me to convey a message to you," Theresa stated, stopping. "Cultivate a new best friend. Someone who perceives you, as I once did. You merit that affection once more." "Does that resonate?" Emma nodded slowly. "I have not permitted anyone to approach me so closely since her demise." Theresa smiled with understanding. "She is not instructing you to forget her. She is urging you to continue living and to persist in finding joy. Furthermore, dear, she mentions that you have been composing a narrative about her. A story." "I have been attempting to compose a novel," Emma confessed, her voice quivering. "It explores themes of friendship, grief, and our relationship. However, I continually find myself pausing." "She instructs you to complete it. She will assist you." Suddenly, the room no longer felt frigid. Emma experienced a sense of lightness in her chest for the first time in years. Something within her was transforming, unfolding. Upon the conclusion of the reading, Theresa rose and embraced Emma. "The Spirit has guided you here for a purpose. Now it is your responsibility to manifest her spirit in your life." The clouds outside were starting to disperse, allowing sunlight to penetrate in golden rays. Emma inhaled deeply and proceeded along the tranquil beach road, feeling a slight alleviation of the burden on her shoulders. That evening, she positioned herself at her laptop, accessed the document entitled Behind the Read, and resumed typing. This time, with Maddie's voice resonating in her heart, and a new best friend poised in the background. Nonetheless, the Ferris wheel glimmered beneath the warm tones of a late summer sunset. Laughter, the aroma of cotton candy, and the animated conversation of youngsters permeated the atmosphere. However, among the revelry, a young boy called Lucas remained motionless, grasping a small pink ribbon, his younger sister Emily's favorite. She had cherished the fair. Lucas, merely 10 years old, had returned this year not for amusement, but for remembrance. Merely 6 months prior, Emily, only 6 years of age, had unexpectedly succumbed to a heart condition that caught everyone off guard. They had last ridden the carousel together, with Emily laughing, her golden curls swaying in harmony with the rhythm of the horses. At this point, Lucas was unable to laugh or grin. Despite the efforts of his parents and instructors, nothing proved effective. Lucas scarcely communicated any longer. On that day, Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, was invited to the fair for a charity reading event. Many attendees were motivated by curiosity. Lucas, however, did not attend of his own volition. His parents had brought him. Theresa positioned herself on a modest platform adjacent to the main stage, her distinctive blonde hair elegantly styled, and her nails elongated and polished. She exuded vibrancy and charisma while maintaining a profound respect for the spiritual significance she embodied. As she surveyed the audience, her gaze fell upon Lucas, inducing an unusual tranquility within her. "I require a conversation with the boy," she declared abruptly. The gathering hushed. "A young girl is approaching. She is presenting pink ribbons, cotton candy, and a stuffed unicorn. She states, I'm here with him." Lucas gazed upward abruptly. His eyes widened. "Is there a boy present who recently lost a younger sister?" Theresa inquired softly. She repeatedly utters his name. "Lucas. Lucas." The hush enveloped them. Lucas's mother inhaled sharply and urged him onward. Lucas gazed up at Theresa, quivering slightly. "Emily," he said. Theresa's gaze softened as she knelt to his height. "She is present, dear. She is well. She is revealing the carousel to me, indicating that you both rode it together, and that was her most cherished day." Lucas's eyes brimmed with tears. "She always desired to return. I assured her we would. I violated my promise." "No," Theresa said gently. "She asserts that you did not. She claims she is present now due to you. You recalled her. You arrived." Lucas's lip trembled as a tear cascaded down his cheek. Theresa momentarily shut her eyes. "She claims you still slumber with the bunny she gifted you. Additionally, you retained her drawing, the one depicting a rainbow and the two of you grasping hands." Lucas acquiesced meekly. "She states, 'Do not weep, Lou. I am among the stars now. I traverse the carousel in the sky.'" An unexpected burst of wind swept through the fair, causing the ribbon in Lucas's hand to flutter. He glanced upward, and for the first time in months, a faint smile emerged on his face. Theresa softly placed her hand on his shoulder. "She desires for you to live, Lucas. To experience joy once more. That is how you will honor her memory. Not through sorrow, but through happiness." That evening, Lucas rode the carousel once more. Solitary, yet not entirely so. As the music resonated and the horses revolved, he shut his eyes and envisioned Emily beside him, laughing, unrestrained, and radiant. Beyond the barrier, beneath stars perceptible only to mediums, a young girl laughed again. Nonetheless, on a brisk October evening in Long Island, the atmosphere was charged with undisclosed secrets. Theresa Caputo, the esteemed Long Island medium, had recently concluded a private session at her residence. The candles continued to flicker softly, seemingly hesitant to release the spirits that had communicated through them. While she proceeded to the kitchen to prepare a cup of tea, her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. The content of the message was as follows: "You are unfamiliar with me, yet I have observed you for years. I believe it is time to discern the messages from the spirits. AP." Theresa inclined her head. She frequently got anonymous messages, however this particular one seemed distinct. The initials AP resonated with her instincts. Then it dawned on her, Annie Potts. Could it genuinely be the Emmy-nominated actress from Ghostbusters and Designing Women? 2 days later, a black SUV arrived at Theresa's residence in Hicksville. Annie Potts emerged, adorned with large sunglasses and a lengthy coat that billowed in the autumn breeze. She appeared anxious, not as an actress assuming a character, but as a woman burdened by a profound secret. "Greetings, I am Annie," she stated gently, taking off her sunglasses. "I recognize your identity," Theresa responded with a smile. "And someone has been anticipating this conversation for an extended period." Annie blinked. Whom? However, Theresa was already sensing the change in the room's atmosphere. The air became dense. A chilling draft passed through, despite the closed windows. Upon sitting, Theresa shut her eyes. "A man is advancing, holding a camera, perhaps a director?" He mentions that you referred to him as your guiding star. He passed away unexpectedly, and I sense cardiac complications. He is presenting a red scarf. Annie exclaimed, "That is Howard. Howard Franklin. He served as my mentor upon my arrival in LA. He consistently donned a red scarf. He passed away from a heart attack 15 years ago." Theresa smiled softly. "He claims you have harbored guilt, as if you could have done more." Annie's eyes brimmed with tears. "I missed his funeral. I was filming in Prague. I never had the opportunity to say goodbye." "He is aware," Theresa stated. "He is presenting me with a script. A screenplay you left incomplete." "Indeed," Annie murmured. "It was derived from our collaboration. I could never summon the resolve to finalize it." He asserts that the moment has arrived. He has been anticipating your narration of his tale. The session extended over an hour. Spirits manifested intermittently. A childhood companion, her grandmother who prepared lemon pie, and a favorite dog named Pepper. Annie experienced laughter, tears, and ultimately attained a tranquility she had not felt in years. Prior to her departure, Theresa presented her with a blank notebook. "This is not solely for you," she stated. "It is for them. The narratives that require narration, the farewells that were never afforded an opportunity." Annie grasped the notepad tightly against her bosom. "I believed I arrived to communicate with the deceased. However, perhaps I came to rediscover the voice I had lost." Nevertheless, on a wet Tuesday afternoon at St. Mary's Medical Center in Long Island, the surgical wing was abuzz with the typical activities: nurses recording vitals, surgeons preparing for procedures, and relatives anxiously pacing the waiting room. However, today, an unprecedented event was poised to occur in Operating Room 6. Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, had recently emerged from a routine procedure to excise a benign cyst. She was drowsy and semi-conscious as she was transported to the recovery room, her characteristic platinum hair somewhat flattened beneath the surgical cap. Nurses laughed softly, remarking, "Even in a sedated state, she still appears glamorous." As Theresa awakened, her eyes widened, not due to pain, but because she beheld him. A man in his late 60s, donning a tattered Mets cap and clutching a harp, floated near the corner of the ceiling. He waved at her and grinned. "You must be joking," Theresa murmured, still influenced by the anesthesia. "Couldn't you have waited until I emerged from recovery?" The spirit laughed softly. "It is imperative, dear. My daughter is merely down the corridor." Theresa activated the call button. A nurse named Clara arrived, displaying a warm grin. "Ms. Caputo, how do you feel?" "Clara, I am aware that I have recently emerged from surgery, but I require you to perform a task for me." Clara was perplexed. "Very well. A woman named Lisa is in the waiting room, awaiting news about her son. I need to speak with her. Her father is present, though not physically here. He is nearby." Clara's expression faltered. She blinked twice. "You wish to converse with a patient's family at this moment? You have just received stitches." Theresa acquiesced. Spirit does not adhere to hospital timetables. 5 minutes later, Lisa, a lady in her early 40s with weary eyes and tear-stained cheeks, stood at Theresa's bedside, appearing both perplexed and inquisitive. "I understand this may seem irrational," Theresa stated, her voice still hoarse. "However, your father is present. He claims you are wearing his fortunate Mets pin and that you placed it in your son's hospital bag for good luck." Lisa inhaled sharply, her palm instinctively rising to her chest, where the same Mets pin was affixed to her sweatshirt. "He is displaying a harmonica. Did he previously play?" Lisa wept. "Every night. That was his method to lull me to sleep during my childhood." Theresa smiled softly. "He asserts that your son will recover. He advises you to have faith and cease attributing blame to yourself for the incident." Lisa collapsed into the adjacent chair, weeping softly and nodding. "I required that. I required him." Theresa gently squeezed her hand. "You are never alone, dear. Not even in the hospital." As Lisa departed, her shoulders appeared less burdened. A nurse inquired, "Are you feeling well, Theresa?" She winked. Analgesics are beneficial. However, the true remedy? That is spirit. From her hospital bed, Theresa Caputo conveyed a message from beyond, emphasizing that love, healing, and hope transcend visiting hours. Greetings, esteemed viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina, and I hope your day is going splendidly. If you appreciate the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel.